All right, fair enough. All right, Roller Dev fam, welcome back to another edition of the RDN Roller Show. We have a very special guest on today who's been pretty much posted more on the RDN account more than anyone else during the ice season. He's an NCAA D1 national championship, two-time Palmer Pro champion, and one-time Narch Pro champion from Anaheim Hills, California. Number 27, Kyle Mayhew. Welcome to the RDN Roller Show. How's the summer going? What's it looking like? Are you balancing ice and roller? What's going on?
Yeah, it's been going good. Just want to say thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. But yeah, I mean, the summer's been good so far. Took my time off, played a little pro at the end of the season. That was super different just from college and everything, but hopped right back into roller immediately. Went and kicked off that tournament in Switzerland with the boys, which was unbelievable. So now I'm kind of just hopping back and forth between roller back home and training out here. So,
well, I mean, you literally went from college straight to playing pro ice. What was that transition like? Was it 2 weeks or a week or like?
Yeah, it was such a quick transition. It was so wild. So our season ended, and then just talking to whoever, I kind of thought things would go more slowly, and then 2 days later they were like, okay, this is all going to go down right now. So So we get back home Saturday and all the boys are kind of drinking their sorrows away. We're all having one. And I 2 days later, no, actually the next day I needed to go down to Loveland to go meet the team and bring them my gear and stuff. So I'm so nervous. I'm afraid to get drunk at all. But it was so crazy. And then as soon as I joined the team, they went on this 20-day road trip through Cali. And yeah, it was just, I was living out of a suitcase for at least 2 months. It was wild.
So you were with them that whole time during that
not
trip?
Yeah, not the whole time. I want to say I was there for a week. They had a ton of defensemen, and then the coach was kind of yeah, I mean, we don't practice super hard or very long, just at the end of the year. They wanted me to work on a couple things. So they were just yeah, just go get some experience, play some games on the coast. So I went after a week, went and joined the Utah Grizzlies, and then was with them for the rest of the year. Got called up once just at the end of the Eagle season, played one game in the A, and then was in the coast the rest of the time. But yeah, it was awesome, super fun. Actually, unreal environments, the couple places I played, and playoffs is a whole nother animal in pro. So, but it was awesome.
That's unreal.
You did pretty well. I mean, you had 6 points 4 points in playoffs. So, I mean, it's not like it sounds like you adjusted pretty well, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So, and Utah is pretty good, right? They're a pretty good coast team in their division from what I remember.
Yeah, they have a great roster. They just had so many injuries throughout the season and so many guys getting called up or sent down and whatnot. Because when I first joined, we had a ton of guys injured, and then going into playoffs, they kind of all got healthy. And we would have been really good. We just ended up playing the best team in the league that first round of playoffs, and we gave them a run, but just came up a little short. So,
I mean, it's I remember just seeing one day you're playing, DU, and the next you're getting signed by the Eagles. And I'm dude, that's just such a quick transition. You see it that's the only sport I think you see happen so fast. Literally one day you're in college, next you're literally playing a professional in the professional league.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely different from other sports in that aspect.
So you just were in Switzerland. You played in the what is the International Inline Hockey Series, correct?
Bingo, man.
What was that tournament like? I know it's the first tournament that they've held out there, the first kind of tournament they're doing, but what was that experience like the competition and everything?
Yeah, it was we had a time. I mean, that location was one of the coolest locations I've ever been. We stayed at the rink, kind of a little it was almost like a dorm was attached to the rink. I mean, it wasn't the most luxurious living, but it was super convenient. There was 2 bunk beds, and we had 2 rooms, so there was 8 of us, and we all just literally hung out all day.
It's the perfect team environment, though.
Exactly, it was so perfect. And we would just step out of our room, turn right, go down some stairs, turn right again. We were at the rink, probably 20-25 steps.
Jesus.
So you could watch hockey whenever.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
I heard the town was unbelievable too. The people are super nice there. There was a lake right next to the rink. I heard all the boys after games, you're dying hot. You just go jump in the ice cold lake. I saw a bunch of the snaps and videos and stuff like that. So it looks like
you BMXing on or you're going through the little the park.
Yeah, bro. That was so dumb. So It was actually because me and Eton were top bunk in the room, and it was so hot because we'd fucked up and like left the door open, and it was hot as shit. So like 5:30, neither of us can sleep. So he just go on this journey through downtown where Constance, and it's like such a cool city, and we're riding around, and right next to a police station is like a pump track, like a BMX pump track, and I'm legit on like a rental bike, like a city bike, and I almost had an absolute digger, and luckily I saved myself. But yeah, and then we went and brought a bunch of the boys, and they were all ripping around, but no falls or anything, but it was so funny.
I feel like having Tino Jr., Eton, even like Mooney now, these people have seen like they've lived over in Europe playing like all like pro rollers. So like going out with them in Europe, I feels like a time because they just like know the spots and just they want to explore because they've seen it. So like just like being with them, like going with Eton's probably just like
oh yeah,
the funnest adventure.
Man, none of us had ever been there, but Eton just kind of like walked around like he'd been there his whole life. Like
he seems like the guy that would do that for sure.
Yeah, like all the travel, all the trains, all this and all that. He was just like had it all figured out. And like if I was by myself, I wouldn't have walked more than 100 feet from the rink. But since I was with them, it was so cool.
And so you boys won. You guys played who was the team you guys played in the
Shakers?
Okay.
Yeah.
And there were some Czech guys on that team, correct?
Yeah, they had a really good roster. Actually, they had both of the Bernad brothers, Jakob Sick.
Yeah,
his hands are filthy.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, they were a good team. I think we caught them a little early. Because I mean, besides those two teams, I think there was a little bit step down in competition just because it was the first tournament, I think. So I don't know if they just weren't expecting kind of our speed, but we kind of just hopped on them early and then kind of rode it.
I think that rank it looked international ice hockey size. I couldn't tell, maybe it was just normal NHL size, but that rank against teams that maybe a tier down, like you guys are just flying around in a couple of live streams I saw, just like cycling the puck and then like in the ozone, like nonstop. So it's just, that's going to be a tough adjustment for those teams. And especially because a lot of the rinks in Europe are so small, they're not used to having that huge surface, and you get beat, you're toast like at the end of the day. So yeah, it looked pretty sick nonetheless. So Hossa, he did a good job. That was the first like really European kind of version of like a tournament like we have here in the States. So for him doing it, he had a ton of teams in there. So shout out to Hossa for putting that together for sure. So kind of dialing it back here for a second, like where did your roller journey begin? Were you someone who grew up playing? Did you hop into roller late? Was it ice first, then roller? Like how did it get started?
Yeah, that's funny because I was just talking about this with my dad, or actually just kind of thinking back and how it all got going. So I had always just played, I think I started playing hockey at like 5. And then I hadn't started playing like actual, like I would just go to like stick and puck and just wheel around and play in-house and stuff like that. Well, I played like real like club hockey at like 8 years old. And then a couple of years after that, so I think I was 8 years old when that started. Then probably 10, I did a camp with a buddy. He was a kid from Russia. He had sweet hands and he had played roller. So then him and his parents were like, "Oh, Kyle should come do this roller camp with us." I was like, "Sure." So then I went, and I was.
Where was the camp at?
It was at Irvine.
Irvine, okay.
And I remember the one thing I remember, because I had never played before, I just remember how hot it was. And I was a kid, and I would sweat so much, the sweat would get in my eyes, and I would like literally have to go around with my eyes closed. It was brutal, but I loved it. And then I think we were saying that. So I think the older I got, I think was squirts and ice. So I actually was playing with Kevin Mooney. We were on the same ice team, like way back in the day. And then he kind of asked a couple of us to go kind of play roller. We were on the Revision Devil Dogs way back in the day. Bunch of kids.
He's always a dog.
Always a dog.
Oof, oof, oof.
Yeah. And then so we were on that team. Nolan Fitch, I played with him way back in the day. So yeah, and then I think I jumped on Raiders. I think the funny thing was, I think I actually jumped on Raiders out of spite because I was on an ice team. They threw a roller team together just for narcs, just to play, just to mess around. And they didn't invite me. And I was like, all right, fuck this. Like, I'm going to go play on another team. So then Fitch was already on that team. A couple other ice buddies were on that team. And I went and played with them. We ended up playing them in playoffs or something, knocked them out and like beat them pretty bad. And then I just loved it. Like the Raiders guys were such big beauties. Like Don Zendejas is like the coolest guy ever. So I just had always played with them, and it was awesome. And then Palma Prospects was the next team with Dave Cairns as the coach.
Okay.
He's probably the one that really like got me hooked on roller because he's such an unreal guy, and
he's like a big staple, I feel like, in the SoCal and the roller community, right?
Oh,
like everyone you talk about like roller there, and that's like one of the names that always comes up.
Yeah, he's such a legend, and like he's definitely the one like kind of taught me the game, taught me to like appreciate the game, and I just love playing it.
So on that Palma Prospects team, is that where like you met like Mason and like some of your boys like Yams and them?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. And then so when you were playing like ice and roller, like did you always like want to play like roller when you were playing ice as a kid as well too? Like you just like loved both, or was there like, did ice kind of take priority?
Ice definitely always took priority. I always liked roller. I don't think I got actually hooked on roller like I am now until I started playing pro.
Okay.
Because I think just like midget roller, like it was good, it's fun, it's super skillful, but it's also like at that age, it's so frustrating because it's so one-man show. It's all toe drags through the middle. It's like it's not great hockey, honestly. Like it was like really frustrating, really fun, but just like anything past that, it was just like it wasn't awesome. Like I didn't love it.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I might be wrong, but you played in junior hockey in Alaska, right?
Yeah.
What was, I was reading your like hockey DB, and I was like, what was that like living in Alaska playing ice hockey? Just like, was it pretty sick?
It was cool. It was a huge culture shock coming from California in 80-degree weather to, God, I think in the wintertime, the worst day I ever saw was negative like 58 degrees, like something absurd. Like, because Fairbanks is one of the coldest places in the world. And it was like a different kind of cold, like something you just can't explain. But I mean, other than that, like it's such a unique place. It's so cool. Like I got to do so many cool things. Like got to go dog sledding every night, like after a game. And in some seasons I'd see like the Northern Lights just going home. Just like such like a beautiful place. There's moose all over the road. As weird as a place it is, I loved it. Like I'd still talk to my billet family from there, and they were awesome. So it's it was a stepping stone for sure. But I loved it.
So I will, since we're on the ice topic, I'm just going to keep it here for this question, and then we're going to go back to that next one. So you play for DU, or you did play for DU 4 seasons, was it? Or five seasons?
Yeah.
Was that because of COVID? You guys got an extra year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you choose Denver University? What was like the choice to come here and play ice hockey?
I mean, I feel like I honestly feel like most of the reason was like as a kid, like I honestly wasn't ever that great. Like I wasn't a big prospect in juniors. Like I just wasn't like that great of a player. Like I played in the NAHL, I was having a good season. I was talking to some smaller schools.
You move the puck so well. Like the puck moving D, man. Like no one moves the puck better.
It's like I know it's hard to say like, or it's easy to say like it's size is the issue, but like I'm even like pretty small for that. I'm like 5'9" on a good day. Like it'd be hard to convince. Like it really
depends what skates you're using.
Exactly, yeah. So it's hard to convince a really good program or a D1 program like, hey, like this kid's got it, because I'm even undersized for undersized. Like it is what it is. But so in juniors, I was talking to some smaller schools and whatnot, and then like last minute we were doing kind of like it was like the top prospects thing in the NAHL, but it was for like all the kids who like had done really well but weren't committed yet. And I was finishing up the tournament. I talked to some schools, but nothing like super like promising. I wasn't super stoked on anything, so I was kind of bummed. And then like,
did you visit here?
I did not, because it was so late. Like we didn't really have time. And so like I think the next day I was still pretty bummed out. My coach texted me. He was like, "Hey, send me your transcripts. Like Denver wants to see him." And I remember like literally laughing at him, being like, "No, they don't. Like they don't want my transcripts." And then so sure enough, send the transcripts. They come to watch me play a couple times, and they said they liked my game. They think I'd fit in well, and I took a chance. I was like, maybe I go here and I play 5 games in 4 years. Like maybe I never play, but I know I had my work cut out for me, and the coaching staff always believed in me. So they kind of, helped me just improve in every single aspect. And, there's so many different people that just helped me, get to a point of success that I probably can't even name them all, but there's a lot of people for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like being able to choose a place, like obviously you're pretty happy with the decision and everything.
Yeah.
You love it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like not being like you're not visiting there. You kind of just have to take like trust and instincts, and honestly, just like believe in the program. I mean, DU is a phenomenal hockey program, you know, and you're like, yeah, I don't really need to go visit. I'll say, yeah.
Do you like? Are you kind of bummed though? Like you did miss out on that like campus visit because I feel like all the guys that campus visit's usually nuts for the boys. Like just they take all the guys take them out. They go to a party. Like you know what I mean. I'm sure you did enough of that, right? But
for sure. I mean, because if you're like one of those big 17-year-olds that has 27 offers and like then you're getting the visits and like I remember like kind of showing kids visits when they come here like big time prospects.
Is there anybody that you took like Mazer or anybody?
I wasn't there for Mazer's visit. I don't think I was there for any big time visits. Just some like more low key guys. I'm trying to think if there was anyone specifically like any studs because I know I wasn't there for Mazes or like Rizzo. Just a goalie, Maddie Davis. Other than that, I don't think there was any big ones, but definitely take out these young kids. They just have no idea like what college is, and you just show them the best time, and they're just like, oh yeah, this is great.
And I feel like a lot of kids in hockey, especially, come from like smaller towns typically. Like, so they're coming to a big school. Like, we drove through DU a little bit and I was like, oh, this is like actually kind of a bigger school than I thought. Right. And I went to Penn State, which is a huge school. So, like, I was surprised at the DU like area as well. But,
it's like kind of like tucked and nestled in like this little area that you really don't like really know it's there. It's isn't it a private school still, right? But it's a beautiful area, but you have like kind of like 2-3 roads that you have all the stuff you need on them, and there's bars up and down them. So it's honestly a sick university there. I mean, they're known for hockey and lacrosse, I think so. But it's just and DU. I feel like they have a lot of like roller alum too. Like a lot of they had Troy Terry went there. He played. Stastny played there. Brock Shawnee played there too. So, but anyways, let's move it back into roller. I know we're skipping around. You won Palma Pro with Rink Rat.
Yeah.
So you're pretty. What were you like? Was that 20s? Was you 20 at that time, or
that was after my freshman year at DU. So I must have been 21 because I went in as a 20-year-old. My birthday's Christmas. So then after that season, I would have been 21.
So was that your like first intro into playing pro roller, or did you play pro roller before that?
No. So because the season before that, I was on Rink Rat and we had lost in I think the quarters to Snipers. But how I actually started playing roller is actually like kind of a hilarious story. It's kind of long if you want me to tell it, but
absolutely. Yeah.
So
this is your pod.
Okay. So back to like the Palma prospects is like, so there's a tournament in the San Jose, good old San Jose, like the best rink ever. I love that place.
High Five Pizza.
Yeah. It was awesome. So tournament, like a Narch in San Jose. And, I remember like my dad was super busy. He couldn't take me. My mom's a teacher. She couldn't take me, obviously. So I was kind of just on my own to like, if I even wanted to go, but kind of on my own to find a place to stay and how to get there. And my buddy, Paul Selleck, really good roller player. He still plays every now and then, but he was really good back in the day. And he said, because we worked out at the same place. So I was like, dude, are we going to this? And he's like, I don't really want to go, but how about like, we obviously like I'll drive up there. We'll split gas, we'll road trip it, just me and you. It'll be fine. I'm like, all right, sure. But like I get there, I still don't have a place to stay. So I'm like, Mason was staying with like one of his like family relatives. I'm like bumming it on their couch for 2 days. And then I go like Delfino and his homies had a hotel room. I'm sleeping on their floor another couple nights. But I only went to go there with the intention of playing one tournament. It was just midget plat. And so I played a couple games. I think we lost. I don't know. We might have won or we lost in the finals or something. And then that's over. And then John had saw me in Dell. And he's like, hey, do you guys want to play D1 for Palma? I'm like, oh, sure. So I ended up playing D1. I think we did okay in that too. And then Eton hits up Dell and I, and he's like, hey, do you guys want to play men's plat? I'm like, well, fuck it. Sure. Like I'll play men's plat too. Like whatever. So I end up playing.
I feel like that's like the roller way though. It usually happens. You go to a tournament, you're playing one, and then you're like, I guess I'm playing three for three other teams.
For sure. So we end up playing men's plat. funnily enough, we lose in the semis to Palma because that was rink rat I was playing on with Eton. And then so the tournament's over, and it was like Eton, Joaquin, a couple of rink rat guys. They were in the bar at San Jose. They had a couple drinks. They were getting pretty loud or whatever. So me and Dell went over just to shoot it for a couple minutes, say thanks for letting us play and whatnot. And we kind of walk over, and Eton like sees us. He goes, "Hey boys, like I got an ask for you. Like you guys want to play Palma Pro with us?" And me, never ever playing pro or even I hadn't even played men's plat in my life. I have no idea what like State Wars is, what Palma Pro is. And I'm like, oh sure. I say sure to it like it's a fucking tournament and like in Irvine. Like, yeah, sure, I'll play. And he's like, okay, yeah, you just got to get your flight and everything else will be covered and all that shit. and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like to Dell, I'm like I don't know, are you gonna go? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm like, okay. So I went and talked to Ron Best. I'm like, yo, like what's Palma Pro? And he's like, dude, it's sick. And I was like, oh, because like I just got asked to play. And he's like, shut the fuck up. You did not get asked to play. Like that's so sick. You have to go. And I'm like, okay, like I guess I'm going. Like I'm still like so naive. I have literally no
You're
idea.
like, what is this tournament I'm playing in?
I have no idea what I'm getting into. I have no idea how good it is. So like so time goes, I think it's a couple week difference between Narc and State Wars at that time. A couple weeks go by, and Dell's texting Eton like, hey, just want to make sure we're still on the team. Cause like, you know, maybe they just had gotten hammered and invited us as a joke. And we hadn't heard anything back. So he texts him again. He texts him a couple times. We hadn't heard anything. And then like flights are getting more and more expensive. So we're like, fuck, like what do we do? So we just ended up booking flights to Michigan. And it's like 2 days before the tournament, and we hadn't heard anything. And Dell's like, hey, Eton, like you have to let me know. Are we on the team? And just the Eton way, his response was, of course, Miho. That's the only answer we got was of course. And so like we end up going out there and playing. And I remember like the first game I watched, I was like, yo, this is good. Like this is like men's plat, I was even not used to, just playing midgets all the time. I was like, yo, this shit is
Was
good.
that in St. Louis at that time, or was that
I want to say it was it was when I want to say Snipers won it. Because we won it in St. Louis.
Yes, yeah.
So the year before was in Michigan.
Okay.
And it was good. It was a fucking good tournament. And that's when like that my dad watched, and like I played it, and I remember my dad watching a couple of games. He was like, this is awesome. Because he was the same way about like midget roller with me. He was like kind of frustrated. He's like, it's good, but like it's not. And then he watched roller. He was like, this is like, he's just as hooked on roller as I am.
Yeah,
which is awesome. But when I first started playing like that first Palma Pro, I was like really, really hooked on pro. So
and then you guys win it. You guys play with that rink rat team, and you guys win it the year after, right? The next year.
Yeah.
And I mean, personally going into that, I think you guys were probably not favored to win it.
Not at all.
But you guys like went on a run. And
yeah.
Like what was that like being part of that, and like kind of like seeing like being on that team?
It was so weird because like even thinking back now, like just hypothetically, if that team would have stayed together, we would kind of be a wagon.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Garrett Ross, Barry, Joaquin,
Junior,
Eton, TNT,
Delfino.
We had Hodge. So yeah, we had
kind of have a mix of like, you know, Car Shield, Palma.
Like everyone kind of like completely different ways.
TNT was like a beast in that championship game. I remember watching it. He was like just like he does, laying on his back, kicking his legs up in the air, making
his helmet across the ring.
Yeah, taking 35 breaks in the middle of a game, taking his helmet off, you know, drinking water, fixing his pad. Like he was a beast. He definitely played the part in that game because I remember watching it it was Black Ice, right? And like they're a team that, you know, it was like back and forth, and usually their championship games aren't like that. And that was like one of the best like pro championship games like to this date, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was I think if all the couple of years I've played with Junior, that was the best game I've ever seen Junior play. Junior was like a man possessed out there.
Yeah, no, it was kind of like, I remember, but it was like a veteran, like you see Joaquin, you see Eton, you see Junior kind of like show their veteran leadership in that game and like really take over just as the, you know, as leaders. And Junior was just like an absolute animal. Couldn't be stopped. It was insane. But now, you know, like you said, they all kind of like go their separate ways. It'd be insane just to see like what if that team did stay together.
You guys need to do like a reunion tour, like tournament somewhere, you know, maybe at the next Mile High Showdown, who knows? But so with that being said, like we're talking about that team's kind of like a mishmash of a lot of guys from now on different pro teams. How did you get into Palma, like playing with, where you are now?
So actually, weirdly enough, so kind of right before Eton I had asked me or whatever, I went back home, and then like a week after that Narch, actually Rob had called me. I had never talked to Rob before, and he actually said like, hey, like we're kind of looking for a defenseman. Blake Rayfield was actually the one that talked me up. He's like, Rayfield said some really nice things about you. We'd love to just get you on board. And I was like, I actually just said yes to Rink Rat, so I'm really sorry, but like we'll keep in touch in the future. Again, I don't even know like who.
So you told Palma like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's like, thanks, but no thanks, man.
Literally
no clue.
I didn't even know who I was talking to. I'm not trying to be like cocky or anything. I literally just didn't. I had no idea. And I still got a lot of crap for like switching to Palma from Rink Rat, but like legit, Rob was still one of the first people to reach out to me like about pro anyway. But
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's funny because like you didn't even know if you were playing with Rink Rat 2 days before the tournament, and you get basically just like, yeah, man, you're in, and you're like, well, I hope so. I just spent all this money on flights to go into a team that was probably an underdog to winning it, and then the next, your next interaction is, Rob Turner McCall, and you'd be like, yo, do you want to play on like, one of the most prolific roller hockey teams ever? And you're like, I don't know, man. I'm loyal to Rink Rat. They told me 2 days before the tournament I'm in. It's wild.
So last year, let's we kind of this next conversation or topic kind of like a mix of roller and ice. Last year probably had like one of the most like epic summers you could probably ask for, I guess, years. Everyone saw it on the RDN account. We got to follow Kyle Mayhew to every single game, post him about it. People loved it, especially Greg Thompson and Tim McManus, the biggest fans ever. But you won a D1 national championship, with Denver University, and then you went Palma Pro with Palma. What was that like first going on that run with DU, spending 5 years there or 4 years at that time there, and then, capping it off with that, a championship run. What was that like?
It was just like, I honestly still don't think I can just put it into words. Like it was such like honestly, this that fairy tale, like just stuff you can't believe experiencing it. And again, like it being like my actual senior year, not my fifth year, but like that senior year, like just to go out on top like that, like, kind of be a leader in that sense. It meant so much. I was playing really good, like personally. And then just especially like even thinking back, like that Michigan team, it's all everybody talked about was Michigan this, Michigan that. Like they were stacked, like on paper, one of the craziest college rosters ever.
And Kent Johnson was still on that team too, correct? That team was, they were loaded.
Yeah, Owen Power, Kent Johnson, Matty Beniers. Like I think something crazy, like 7 or 8 first round picks. Like honestly,
did they have Hughes too? Did they have Hughes at the time or no?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's like insane.
Just an absurd roster, and just like no one had picked us, and like I'm not saying we're an underdog, like, but just no one had bet on us to win. It was just like,
well, dude, the 27 fan club knew.
True.
The boys knew from day one.
I had a couple loyal fans that I give a lot of credit to, but yeah, it was like that feeling is like you're on top of the world. Like it's just, you can do anything. Like we would go back to campus and just like be skipping class and doing dumb shit, and all we said to each other was like, nothing matters. That was just our quote, was just like, doesn't matter, because we had just won.
Well, like in watching, like we went to every single game at home, and a couple of away games here in Colorado Springs, but like that team, just, you guys have this special bond. Like it was like a family kind of thing. Everyone says it in all sports, and it sounds very cheesy, but like in order to win a national championship, you're gonna have to have like an unreal bond. And you guys honestly saw it, like, seeing you guys at the bar together, or just seeing it, you guys just had this crazy bond. But during warmups, during this thing, you guys are just like, we're here just chilling, there's no nerves, there wasn't like anything, and you guys were just, doing your thing, having fun, and it was like just so cool to see. And then like you said, a story telling ending was just unreal. But what was that like? What was, being part of that, like what was that bond like you guys had though?
It was just like, it's just so hard to replicate it. Like even like the next year or the year before, like you always say you have a great group of guys, but there's nothing like quite like that. Like it's just everyone clicked, there was no like little clicks here, little clicks there. Like we hung out every single guy all together all the time. Like we were probably drinking when we weren't supposed to, but like we had like so much fun and we were just so like carefree, like just like an example, like to the national championship game, like the throwing for all the teams walking in suits, dressed to the nines. We walked in Lululemon tracksuits, and like arguably the best player in the nation, Bobby Brink, like probably could have won the Hobie.
Should have won the Hobie.
He walks in.
Flyers pick.
He walks into the national championship game with a Warrior hockey hat on, a polo untucked, and like workout shorts or something. Like he looked like we laugh about it to this day. He looked absurd. It was just like that attitude, like we don't care, like we're in it for us. It's just the vibe.
So going into that national like championship game, what was the vibes in the locker room with the boys?
It was just like the same as it is always. We were screwing around before the game. The night before the game, we were doing one of those classic pranks. We were at like a pasta place where you unscrew like the lid on something pretty good, and then the guy goes to dump it and the whole thing comes out. We did that to some guy's meal, and like it was like you would have thought we were in preseason, like. But that's I honestly think that's why it worked out for us, because no matter where we went, the stage, whatever, we just played our game. Like we were going down into the third, down 1-0, and we put up 5. Like it just.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, it's just having that that family kind of like vibe and everything. You kind of like have each other's back. It doesn't matter what the score is. You're gonna come back with a win. So.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. Now, kind of like this is like a 2-part question. Now, you won with Palma last year at Palma Pro. So what was that experience like? It was pretty cool. We got to see like your journey in the little video that our boy Jace did for Face Off Media. So what was that journey like? And then moving forward as like roller season approaches from last year, is there any team that like maybe you lost to last year and you really want to get them back this year? Is there any team you're looking like forward to beating?
Yeah. First off, shout out to Jace, because that video was dope. That
video
was sick. So sick.
Yeah. You went to high school with Jace, right?
We played high school hockey together. So yeah, he's the man. But yeah, so that run, like you could tell in that video, like even that video did a great job of capturing just like not like the pressure, but just the emotions that were going into it. Like he put this clip of, I think George or Treff talking before the last game, and he's like, yeah, all these teams, like Palma puts up the tournament and they've just seen all the money go to snipers and Ringcraft the one time in black ice. So like if there's a time to do it, it's right now. And like we definitely we had that like chip on our shoulder and that like intensity, like exactly for that reason, because we know like how special it is to be in the situation we're in. The Magyar family, like they deserved it, like they did for everything that they do. Like we wanted it like so crazy bad. Yeah, it was just like you could just tell like everyone's heart was like just so in it. It was honestly super comparable to like that same DU vibe. It's just like everyone has each other's backs. Like it's just like such a strong, like they say Palma family all the time, but like it actually is. Like I couldn't agree more. So yeah, and then back to the next question, like this summer coming up. Yeah, I think we had a pretty good record. I know a couple teams. We did lose to Black Ice at Narch. Had that tough one at Tours, 1-0 to Carshield in the final. They're a good team. I would.
You guys have played Carshield in the finals at Tours, I think. Was it 3 years in a row or was it 2 years in a row?
I think it's 2, yeah. Because I think Black Ice was the 1 year, and then you guys had the off year in between. So it was like you guys, then Black Ice, and then you guys made it again. And I did the live stream for that game, and it was crazy because I think we put something up on the account, like predictions of scores and stuff like that. Everyone thought it was going to be like a 4-3 game, and I was like, no way whatsoever. This is going to be a straight puck possession, 2-1, and it wound up being 1-0, which was pretty insane. I remember doing like the stream. I think me and Dwyer did it, and it was a good game though. I mean, it was just you guys just couldn't find the back of the net, and it happens sometimes, And I think what was more shocking is that you guys have such scoring power that's what was like more shocking.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like Redmond did his thing, like Redmond's Redmond. Like he's always going to put up an unbelievable game, and he did his thing, and then picking up Sigmund, like he's such a factor. He's so good, controls the puck. Like I think, like he was obviously line matched against like Junior and Trav, and like because he'll have the puck on his stick and he can kill 90% of their shift just on his own, just because you can't go at him because he's so shifty and he's so good. But yeah, it was a chess match that game. It was a crazy 1-0. I think they scored on the power play too, was their one goal.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, those will always be great matchups.
Is there any a certain player that you love to like, watch when you're at, any watching pro roller, or you like to play against, or just someone you're like, oh, this team's playing, I want to watch because like a particular guy?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, like it's got to be Sigmund. He's got to be up there for sure. Just how he controls the game, like it's unreal. Like, because I know you guys put up that question about toughest like guys to play against, and that was when we were in Switzerland. So we actually like sat around a bar and like had our own little discussion about it. We went a bunch of different ways with it, and this was one of the ones. Was just like, I think Travis said like Sigmund's effect on a game for like, because he doesn't score a lot just because he's like, he controls it and dishes and does everything else, but his like goal ratio to impact ratio has to be like the best ever, because like he doesn't score but his impact is just so high. So he's obviously a great player. Di Martino, I've always loved to watch him. PJ, he always seems to get around me at least once a game. I pride myself on good D, but he always finds a way every game. Trying to think. I gotta say a defenseman just because I'm a D guy. But
You said Siggy. Siggy's D.
Yeah. But I'm just gotta think of another one.
Okay, yeah.
I'll say Foxy. I love.
Oh, Fox,
Foxy's
yeah,
playing.
and he's back this year, correct? Foxy's playing, or is it?
And that's the rumor. We'll see.
Okay.
He went MIA on us for Pi Hub, but we'll let him slide. So we'll see if he's let's see if he's back in the mix. But I mean, I play against him and PJ a lot.
He's so strong on the puck. He's a very mean player to play against. That's like,
he like attacks the play, which is like, he kind of reminds me, like, it's weird to say like how Travis attacks you with the puck. Like Shane does the same thing. He's coming up like the floor, like he just is buzzing. So yeah, that's a good one that like it's probably been a name that hasn't been out there because he didn't play last year. He had some injuries he was dealing with. It's gonna be interesting to see if he does make a push, at least for Palma. I know he just had a kid and everything, so congrats on that for Shane. But it'll be interesting to see if he's back in the mix this year.
absolutely. One other player I would think of is Pascali always, just because he's like his forecheck. Yeah,
he's a rat.
Yeah, it's insane.
I have a quick question before we wrap it up here. Is there anybody on DU that you think would be a sick roller player that doesn't play, or maybe he did play and just doesn't anymore?
Oh yeah, for sure. I first overall, I'd have to take Rizzo. Massimo Rizzo has probably the best relationship with the puck that I've ever seen in my life. The puck just loves it.
I love that.
Just like the softest mitts, like can literally pass through anyone's triangle. Like he's just literally built for roller. He'd have to be a pick.
No, sure. I feel him and Mazer. I feel like Mazer would be disgusting. He just has that kind of like roller, I feel like vibe, but Rizzo, yes, he's the puck just stays on. It's like a magnet, like you say.
And he's even super curious about roller because he said he's always tried to play in that league that Johnson and Bedard play in.
Yeah,
but he's always super busy. But he'll just go out and play in the street, like with a green biscuit.
Yeah.
So he kind of knows, he's kind of familiar with it. Yeah. But yeah,
that's one thing about the DU guys. Every time like we would meet up with you after a game, they're so interested about it, and all they would ask is like Mars Blade. That's all they knew about like roller.
I was just gonna say that, yeah.
But they would ask like, "Yo, so what's the Mars Blades like?" And I was like, "They're sick," but like and that's shout out to Mars Blade, because that's like such a huge way to get ice players to be playing roller. Is it really helps them just skate. But all those players asked about it. That's all they were asking. It was pretty hilarious. So like, you think I would be good? I think it was like Mazer asking. He's like, would I be nasty? I was like, you would be absolutely filthy.
Do pretty well.
Yeah. So we got a question here. So what was more memorable, winning Palma Pro with Palma or Rink Rat?
Oh, that's the good question, actually. Shout out to whoever asked that, because that's really
good. Your boy.
Is it? Who's my boy?
He's been on that team, on both those teams.
Is it Vitan?
Delfino.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's surprising coming from Del. Ooh. That's so tough. I might just say Palma, just because afterwards, seeing like Mike Nijar, like basically in tears, he was so happy, and we picked him up on the rink. And like him drinking from the cup, I had barely known him for, whatever, I played 2 years. and just to see like how passionate he was about it was like unbelievable. Like it almost moved me to tears. It was crazy. Like so for that reason, I definitely say Palma.
Okay. One other one. What's your favorite roller rink to play at?
It's a good one too. Favorite rink
or favorite rink you have played at?
I just loved the San Jose vibes.
Yeah,
I loved it.
You can't go, honestly, San Jose, if it had the same setup with the 3 rinks, there's not a better rink, the better 3 setup in the world, honestly. I mean, you have that pizza place right there. You have the 3 pure roller rinks. I mean, it's the perfect size as well, too. And it was ice court, too, I believe, too.
Yeah.
Pre-steel mat, which essentially kind of like this, I would say, almost the same thing, but steel mat slides a little more now. But yeah, it's all right. I hear that you're a big DJ in the locker room.
Yeah.
So what's your like pregame song that you might listen to or you'd throw on for the boys?
Oh, I was actually thinking about this on the way over because I knew you'd ask and I couldn't even come up with an answer. So this last summer, Garrett Haar actually loved. He'd always have me put on Invincible by Pop Smoke before we went out. It just got him absolutely juiced. I'd say some DMX always gets the heart going for sure. That'll get the boys up.
What from DMX? Was it gonna give it to you?
That one
Gonna give it to you.
Yeah, X gonna give it to you.
I even forget the name of it. I feel embarrassed I forget the name of it, but there's some other good ones. There's like one called What's My Name. That's slept on, but it's a banger for sure.
Yeah, it's a banger.
All right.
So we got an interesting one here. I don't even know what this means. I thought when Rob sent this to me, like I thought he was drunk already. A couple Michelob's too deep. But what is Hockey Picks Edits Instagram account? What is this? And why does it not make sense to me? But you guys are cracking up about it. It's driving me nuts for the past hour.
I was actually so convinced that no one had ever found out about this, but
perfect.
I'm actually shook that this got out. So I don't know. I don't even know when this was. Way back in the day, I must have been. I don't know. I'd hate to say how old I was. Maybe Pee-wees for ice or something. Probably too old to be doing this shit. But because funny enough, Delfino used to ask me to like edit his Instagram pictures before he'd throw them on the.
Oh, right, Delfino.
So, because I have
what would you edit onto his like?
I just would make it look a little better. I don't actually
like filters and stuff.
Gay filters.
I thought you put like the puck was like going wide. You like erased it, put it in the net or something like.
No, but because I had like an iPad and I got this brutal app to like edit pictures or whatever. So he would ask me to like, hey, can you like edit this? Funniest ask he ever did was it was a picture of him shirtless, and he goes, "Yo, can you edit this to make me look like I have abs?"
No, was he being serious?
My gosh.
Yeah. So whatever. I would do a couple edits for Dell, and then fucking idiot me is like, "Yo, these are kind of fire." Like
your abs look unreal in this picture.
So I'm starting to think like, yo, I'm a pretty good picture editor. So I start this Instagram account called Hockey Pick Edits. And I'm just like hitting people up. I'm like, yo, if you want your pics edited, just send them to me and I'll send them to you. And dude, it actually got wicked popular. I actually looked back at this a couple months ago and like the edits are fucking brutal. Like,
so I send you a picture. Okay. I send Mayhew a picture. Yeah. What, you're 14 years old?
Yeah.
14-year-old Mayhew a picture. And I'm like, yo, I have a picture of me shooting the puck. Yeah. Edit it. What would you do to it?
Just whatever I thought was cool. I
like throw some flames on it or something.
Yeah, there was like this little like tool where you could add like some paint drops. So I'd have fucking paint drops everywhere, and I mess with the saturation and do all this.
Do some like grayscale,
stupid shit. Yeah, and just added like these are fucking so. And they're so brutal. And like so, they'd throw me the picture, and I'd post it on my thing, and then they would repost it, and like, yeah. because it was so funny. So I started it. No one knew it was me. People were DMing me like, "Who did this? Who did this?" And I'm like, "I'm not telling."
And was it just like a bunch of your friends, or just like?
I just started to reach out to my friends at first, and then I got like a bunch of people that every day would ask me to do this. And then so I had a group chat with a bunch of my buddies in high school on my high school ice team, and I like not like they don't know it's me, so I throw in there. I'm like, "Yo, have you guys seen this hockey pick editors guy?" And they're like, "Yeah, his shit's brutal."
Oh my God. They chirped you?
Yeah,
They didn't even know.
yeah, and I'm like, "Yo, do you guys really think it's that bad?" And they're like, "Yeah, this shit is like so whacked. Like this guy's brutal." And I just like stopped like cold turkey. I was like, "All right, this shit sucks."
So the account's not up anymore because I just searched for it on Instagram.
Is the account up
No,
anymore?
I think it is up actually. I'll look for it right now. But
I mean, you got to bring it back. Honestly,
Honestly,
I think you just roll with it being bad edits of pictures. Like, just go with it.
I think the funniest thing, though, honestly, is that Delfino kept hitting him up to ask him to edit his pictures. That's the funniest. Sorry,
That's how he played in France. They saw that picture of him and his abs. They're like, "This dude's in shape. Let's sign him."
Yeah. That's unreal. That's too funny.
yeah, it's still I don't know if I want to throw out the app.
Let me see it.
Dude, this is not fair. I'm not there.
Oh, this is Mayhew is an editor, dude. These are fire.
Hire him. Sign him on as the new graphic designer for RDN.
Throw him the app so he can look at
Hockey pick _ edits.
I'm gonna have to block this shit as soon as this goes live though. I can't have everyone watching the pod will look me up.
Oh, this is fire. I'm about to follow this account so hard.
You said it's hockey under. I found it. Oh boy. Oh my answer. This is so like early 2000s, like mid 2000s, like these like grainy photos. Where's Delfino's app pick on here? I gotta find it.
Delfino's.
I mean, it's not as bad as you made it seem, but it's like, yeah, it's not bad. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. It's not terrible. I don't know. It's funny though.
Okay,
big 22 followers. I'm giving you a follow. Fuck it.
Yeah, he's hella getting a follow.
Should I bring it back?
Yeah, you
bring it back, dude.
You start editing people's pictures, random stuff.
All right.
Well, all right. Well, to wrap up the pod, Tours is coming up this weekend, or this week. Boys obviously want to win, but what's your prediction with like who do you guys think you would be seeing in the championship with Tours coming up?
That's a good one because now we've been saying like every year we've always said like this is the pro year, and then the next year this is the deepest pro year, and then the next. So again, it's probably the deepest pro year. There's a ton of good teams, so you can't really count anybody out. But it's so hard. It's so hard to like not say Black Ice or not say Car Shield or. I would think in a meaningful game we would see Car Shield again. Just I know they've made some pickups this year, so they'll be buzzing. So I think whether it's final or before that, I have a feeling we'll probably see them again.
See Car Shield, okay. And you're going to Tours as well. The few will be there. Obviously the kid wants to win as well too. What's your predictions for this weekend? What's your thoughts? Who are teams that you think are going to be in the final other than your team? Obviously the want to be there.
We've had a rough tour, so but it's just tough because I don't know, like obviously what Palmer's roster is most likely going to look like, what Black Ice's roster is going to look like. Roadrunners and Car Shield, I think, are the two like unknowns. You really don't know who they're going to wind up having, right? Like we were talking about it earlier in the podcast. So it's going to be interesting because, and then you have like Lebated North Park. It was the old Envious team. They had a really good showing at Palma last year. They played you guys really good in the playoff game, if I remember correctly.
That was a super close game.
Yeah. So like, they're like kind of like they'd be like my dark horse sort of. But yeah, at the end of the day, like it always seems like Car Shield and what was Ringster always seemed to play extremely well at tours. So it would be hard not to say them. It would be sick. Obviously I'm playing, so this is like even tough for me to say, but it would be like sick if it was a Palma and Car Shield rematch. I think that would probably juice you guys up like remove my playing hat, put on the podcast hat right now, but that would be pretty sick to see a rematch between you guys, honestly. But like I said, it's really going to depend who they picked up and everything like that. So, I mean, tours, we talk about it all the time. Tours has become like this like juggernaut of a tournament. Especially because it's the first one of the year. I think everyone's like antsy to get out there and play. So
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Mayhew, good luck this weekend. Thank you for coming on the pod. Long time coming. So, but yeah, good luck to both of you guys out in Florida. Tour should be a good time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
thanks for coming on, dude. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for always gassing me up on Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. Hockey edits.
I think Rob might start a Mayhew fan page after this one. So
you might have to.
I will. Hold on. I'm just gonna end the recording.